Hi everyone, my name is Bárbara Ferreira. I'm the European Geosciences Union Media and Communications Manager. And when I have time, there is one education project I work on. So I work at the EGU office in Munich. And the project I want to talk to you about is called Planet Press. And the idea of Planet Press is to have geoscience news for children. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about. So no more plate tectonics for a little bit. So here you have the Planet Press logo, so we just wanted to make something attractive for children. And I also put the Photography Encourage logo because you are more than welcome to take photos of my slides at any time. So Planet Press, like I said, the idea of Planet Press is to produce geoscience news for children. And at EGU, we produce what we call press releases, which are documents written with journalists in mind. And these documents are about research that is published in our scientific journals. But often, even though those texts are written in a relatively accessible language, it's not necessarily suitable for young children. So we take those press releases and then we produce an even shorter and even more accessible text for children. And this is the Planet Press articles. And our target audience is roughly 7 to 13 years old, so it tends to be a little bit more towards the older part of that interval, so more the 12, 13. And the topics we cover are the various topics of our press releases, and this can be air pollution, glaciers, climate, earthquakes, oceans, etc. And here you have a word cloud that I made with all the titles of all the Planet Presses we've published so far. And you see that we have a lot on climate, but we also have stuff on earthquakes, like I mentioned, the sea, glaciers melting, the future, etc. So we cover a broad range of areas. And the aim of publishing these Planet Press articles is to get children and their parents and educators interested in the geosciences. And this is an educational project that I work on that complements other EGU educational initiatives, such as this workshop here. And I should say that it's not an original idea to write this geoscience news for kids. This is inspired by an astronomy initiative called Space Scoop, which is essentially the same thing, but for astronomy. And the process. So like I said, we have, the EGU publishes a number of scientific journals that have papers, and I go through those papers on a regular basis, and I pick some to write about for journalists. So we publish the press releases. So we start with something like this. This is a paper we had just last summer. And as you can see, this is written with a scientific audience in mind. So we try to produce something that is a little bit more suitable to journalists. So we publish these press releases on our website. And then from this, what I do is that I draft a kids-friendly text, which is about 300 words long. And then we still want to make sure that this text is accurate, so we send it to 2 researchers working in the broad area the text concerns, and we also send it for a teacher to make sure the text is suitable to its target audience. And then we just make it pretty, basically. And this is what it looks like in the end. So this is, all our Planet Presses have a PDF version that you can print and use in classrooms. And this is how it looks. We have the main text. This is about that paper I showed you before. And then we have a section with a discuss with teachers and parents. So for any students who are interested in learning more, they can go and see other resources that are available online, and they can talk to their parents and educators. And finally, because we realize that there are many children in Europe who don't necessarily speak English, we also work with a number of volunteer scientists and teachers who translate the texts for us. And this is, at the moment we have 59 of these Planet Press texts published online, and these are the languages we have available. So the higher the bar, the more texts we have in that language. And as you can see, almost all our texts are published in French and German, a lot of them in Italian, Serbian, Spanish, but there are a number of others that are translated in other languages as well. So when you go to our website, so again, I'm showing still the same example of a Planet Press I showed before. you have the print version that you can download in English, and then you have a number of translations. So if you would prefer to print a version that is not in English, you can do that. So just to give you a few numbers, like I said, we have 59 texts that are currently drafted and published online. We have 470 translations available. And unfortunately, I cannot work on this project on the run-up to this conference because I'm busy with my main job, which is the work in the press center. So there are a few more that I've received from translators that I've not yet been able to publish online. So after this meeting, there will be probably 480 or so translations online. And we work with around 60 volunteer scientists and translators, and it's really thanks to them that we have all these texts reviewed and all these texts translated, so a big thank you to them. And one of the teachers, so like I pointed out, we have all our texts translated into Serbian, and this is because one of the translators works for us in this project. She is a past GIFT teacher, and she's very, very keen. She absolutely loves it. And so she has, on her own, translated all the 59 texts. And she has also talked to us we have an interview published with her on a EGU blog about how she uses Planet Press in the classrooms. And her name is Marina, you can see there. And like I said, she's a past GIFT participant and a Planet Press volunteer. So if you go online, you can see an example of how this resource can be used in classrooms to inspire kids to be more involved and more interested in the geosciences. So what she does is that she prints several copies of the Planet Press, so you see there the kids using it, and then she uses this as a discussion topic. Because the advantage of the Planet Presses is that they are very much unlike textbook in that they are about very recent research that is just now been published. And so, and they are, we try to write them with a positive spin. So even when we write things about climate change, for example, that can be quite negative, we always try to say, but the reason why researchers are doing this is because it can help policymakers know how to act. So we try to put a little positive spin at the end. And so this can be very useful when studying in the classroom so that you can point out what the possible solutions to this problem is. So you can create this whole discussion activity around it. And now this is basically all I have to say about Planet Press. And then what I want to ask from you is that you help us share this new and exciting research with your students or with your kids or anyone you know who could be interested in this. You can use it as, like Marina does, as a teaching tool in your schools. And you can use it, obviously, to teach geoscience, to help with critical thinking. And we also have at least one teacher who uses it as a language tool. So he translates the Planet Presses in the classroom with his students. So that's another useful idea. And finally, please spread the word to other teachers, to anyone else you think could be interested. So maybe you don't teach 7 to 13-year-old kids, but you know someone who does. So please do share this resource with them. And if you want to volunteer, so if you want to be an educational reviewer or a translator, you can email me. I would recommend you email me at least a week from now, because this week will be a little bit hard for me to reply. But you can email me, and we can talk a little bit more about the project and how you could be involved. I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, let me know.